What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Building Men podcast event, the Pillars of Masculinity, building men, brothers on a mission.
Helping men become the strongest version of themselves mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically.
What's up, brother?
How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. This is a big deal, what we put together here. So a little bit of background about Building Men. The Building Men adventure, the Building Men journey started more than 15 years ago. It started in 2005. In my first year as an assistant principal, I spent a majority of my career as a middle school principal. And I recognized right away in my first year as an administrator, all the shit that we were dealing with, it was with the young men in the school. They were experiencing a lot of challenges, a lot of struggles. They were coming to school late or not coming to school at all. They were getting thrown out of class for being disrespectful. They were getting into a lot of fights. There was a lot of bullying situations. They had failing grades. They were getting classified into special education. And we recognized that something needs to be done here. So I started this program up called Building Men. And at the same time, as your older brother, I'm 14 years older, you were in that middle school age range. Yeah. And the cool thing is I got to experience this as a professional, ways that we can help young men understand what masculinity is, what it means to be a man in society today. So I was doing it on a professional level as a principal, but then also testing out the theories and all those things with you and a lot of your friends, shit that you were going through as a young man as well.
Yeah, living through that myself, and you taking those practices that you were teaching in the group and putting them into, giving them to me, and I was using them, and I was helping, and it was helping me throughout my school and throughout sports and kind of ground myself throughout middle school and high school.
And what we were able to do was, it was always something that you knew was a powerful thing, how it impacted you and a lot of your friends growing up. And I saw how it impacted thousands of kids that I dealt with over the course of my career in education. We always wanted to do something really powerful with Building Men. We thought maybe we'd write a book about it or something like that. It sat on the shelf for many years. And finally, we dusted it off in the summer of 2020. When the world was shut down pretty much, and we decided we're going to do something really powerful with this idea of Building Men, and we started our podcast. And over the course of a year and a half since the podcast started, we interviewed some fucking unbelievable human beings that shared their own thoughts about resiliency, about perseverance, about purpose, authenticity, and truly what it means to be a man in society today. So when we decided to do this event, it was a free live virtual event initially that we put on. It was geared toward young men that were in high school, and we had 15 guys send in videos giving a piece of advice that they wish that they would have received as a young man, and that would be applicable today. But after going through the event and really listening to the advice that was put out there, the things that you're about to listen to can benefit or impact anyone, any man in society today, any man who's struggling in any aspect of their life. All of these pieces of advice are things that you will absolutely be able to take and put into practice right away, with your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your intellectual health. All these things are things that you can absolutely do, put into place right away. So we're going to suggest, if you're watching this right now, if you're listening to it, grab something to write with, grab a piece of paper, grab a notebook, take notes on this event, the Pillars of Masculinity.
Yep.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Chase Tuning, and you know what? I've lived a lot of different lives in my short 36 years here on planet Earth. I am the oldest of three. I am a son. I've been a soldier. I've served active duty in the Army for 6 years. I've been a warrior. I've been a patient. I've suffered traumatic injuries, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I'm a husband now. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a podcaster. I'm a digital creator, content creator. But more importantly, I am a human being. And more importantly, so are you. No matter who you are now, no matter what you're going through, no matter what hat you think you are wearing now, no matter what hat you think you're going to wear for the rest of your life, I promise you, as we go through this human experience, a lot of that will change. And there is immense power and beauty to be had in such change, because it is inevitable. That is the one guarantee we have in life, is that, change is going to happen. And I say all this because as we go through these different seasons of life, and as we go through these different changes, and we take off certain hats and put on new ones, and we kind of step into new identities, and we often struggle then with giving up or transitioning out of that old identity, the biggest thing I can tell you is to just expect it, but to more importantly, feel it. Allow yourself to feel anything and everything that comes up during these life changes. One of the, I won't even say regret, but one of the biggest learning curves I can tell you that I've had over my years is that through losing my father at the age of 19, through becoming significantly injured in the military, suffering career-ending injuries, learning how to walk again twice, and now through the pains and joys of running my own business and living here in Los Angeles and just the incredible wonders that this world has to offer, is that I prosper more. I am more successful. I am more happy. And I'm more connected to me and to my mission and to the people around me when I make time for and I prioritize my ability to feel. And I didn't always do that. I didn't feel the pain and the sorrow and the grief as much as I needed to when my father passed away, when I buried him after watching him pass away from a terminal illness. I didn't give myself the grace nor the grief time necessary to mourn the loss of that identity I had as a soldier once I suffered those injuries. So just whatever you are feeling, everything is valid, everything is warranted, and they are there. Our emotions are there to teach us something. And oftentimes it's uncomfortable and we don't like it if it's not pleasant. And so we try to ignore it, we try to stuff it down. But I can promise you there will come a day when it will come up again. It may rear its ugly head in the form of a rash, an irritation, an illness, an injury, a mental health disorder, or just the struggles of life when it feels like it should be not this difficult. I want to encourage you. I want to give you advice. I want to implore you to feel everything as you go through this life, as you go through every transition, every season. Feel it, because there's a lesson, there's a gift each and every one of us are waiting to receive inside every one of our emotions and our feelings. And especially as a man, modern day man, especially as a military guy, that might sound like a surprise, but I can tell you, I'm my most happy, I'm my most true and authentic self when I make time for and prioritize feeling all the things that I need to as I transition, even just through day-to-day operations. So there you go, guys. Hope you're well. You're in great hands here with the whole Building Men community, and I'll just leave it at ever forward.
What's going on, fellas? So if there's anything that I could imagine is that you're sitting there right now thinking about all of your goals, all the things that you want to accomplish, everything from the money to the status to the career to the car to the family, all of these things that are really important to you and are probably extremely motivating. But what I want to encourage you to do is this. Instead of focusing so much on what you want to achieve, again, these external motivations, these goals, what I want you to think about now is, who do you want to become? What kind of man do you want to become in this life? Because here's the thing. When you achieve all those goals without knowing who you want to become, it's a bit like a false summit. It's like a track star running across the finish line. Once they cross that line, once they achieve that thing, their momentum stops. They pull up, they stop running. All right. The same is true in life. As someone that's been there, as someone that's done exactly this, I can promise you it's true. So instead of thinking about all the things that you want to achieve and allowing that to be your sole motivator, I want to encourage you to think about who you want to become. Because imagine this. Imagine becoming that man and what he could achieve. Right? Because when you become the man that you're proud of, every single thing that you achieve is nothing more than a checkpoint. And it's not a destination. It's just another step in pursuing and becoming a better version of that man. So if there's anything I can tell you from where I sit here today as a 37-year-old man who's made more than his fair share of mistakes, and I can say has made more than his fair share of accomplishments. It wasn't until I understood who I wanted to become that my life really became exactly what I wanted.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Alex Bales. Some of you may have heard me on the podcast. I'm formerly known as Sober Fit Alex, and I just wanted to come on here and give some of you a quick piece of advice that I think might be valuable to some of you young men out there. The most important thing I think that we need to do as men is just know thyself. I spent a lot of my life trying to figure this out. I've struggled with severe anxiety, severe depression, and I've been addicted to drugs and alcohol. And I think a lot of that was really rooted in an identity crisis. I think we live in a society that, especially for men now, tells us how we should or shouldn't act, what we should or shouldn't do, or what we can or can't be. And ultimately, I think that what's really important is that we find something that we're passionate about and pursue it relentlessly, because that's what's truly in our heart. I think anything aside from that is really just doing not only a disservice to you, but a disservice to the world around you. We need more men who are passionate about who they are, about what they do, and making their own mark on the world. And I think that we do that simply by knowing ourselves, staying true to who we are, being honest with yourself, loving yourself, and doing the things that you love most so that you can share that love with the people around you in your life. You can find me on Facebook at Alex Michael. And pretty soon here, I was doing life coaching for those who have mental health issues and sobriety, but I have recently shut that down, and I have gone all in on my strength and conditioning business, which is completely in person right now, but down the road, I will be branching out into online training as well. So I hope that was helpful to some of you. Much love, and I am grateful to be able to share that with you. All right, everyone, have a good day.
So our first pillar that we discussed here was about identity. So we had individuals, Chase Tuning, Matthew Pates, and Alex Bales, talk to us about identity, and starting with Chase Tuning, the ability to feel, to be truly vulnerable. And we talk a lot about that on the podcast. Strength comes in being able to look at your shit and truly feel into it and feel that level of vulnerability.
And as men, we always feel like it's, looked down upon to show emotion, to be vulnerable. So we stuff everything down all the time. And then it comes out in ways that maybe we don't necessarily want it to. We end up getting into an argument or a fight or doing something even worse than that. And so the power in being vulnerable, the power to being open and understanding your identity.
And then Matthew Pates talks to us about truly visualizing who do you want to become in this world and being that person. So what do you see yourself doing? Not just, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a professional athlete. I want to own a business. I want to have a successful marriage. Actually seeing yourself in that role and visualizing yourself becoming that person.
Yeah, so much power in that. And then finally, Alex Bales talks about just knowing yourself, how important it is to know who you are and be grounded in who you are.
There's one word of advice I can give is embrace hardship. If you are a young man getting ready to take the next chapter of your life and grow, whether it's spiritually, mentally, physically, business-wise, understand that hardship is a part of life. You can either seek it out and take it on, understanding that out of that is going to come growth and personal development, or you could choose to stay comfortable, at which point hardship will eventually find you regardless. So it's easy to say at my age, at almost 40, I had people telling me when I was a 17, 18-year-old young man about the importance of grinding, hard work, doing things that aren't always going to be fun. It's easy to say, it's harder to get people to implement. And the sooner you can learn that hardship's a part of life. But the best leaders are the ones that embrace the hardship and that take on the responsibility that comes with it, meaning that it's not always going to be the road most traveled. You will have doubters, but that's the reason why they say misery loves company. People don't like seeing you elevating above them. So be also careful about who you have around you. If you have a lot of naysayers, a lot of doubters that will, put down what it is you're trying to achieve, making it sound like it's impossible, separate yourself from those people. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So be mindful that those people are helping you build yourself and not the ones that are trying to keep you back on their level. So if your company is more naysaying than anything, separate yourself from them. That could be a hard decision, whether it's family or friends. But that's what being a leader is. And be the leader that you would follow yourself, which means staying true to your values, your core values, which I believe all people's core values are kindness and goodness and graciousness. And if you stay true to that and you continue walking in the direction where you're feeding kindness, graciousness to other people, you will always be winning. And it might be hard. It might be the road less traveled. Being in today's day and age, we like to do things that are convenient and keep us comfortable. But embrace that hardship. Know that on the other side of hardship is going to come growth and is going to come development. And if you want to separate yourself from where you're at right now and you want to elevate yourself, hardship is just going to be something you're going to have to go through. So it's going to be easier for you in the long run if you embrace it and you do something once a day that's going to take you just a little bit out of your comfort zone and overcome it, grow from it, learn from it, pass it on, teach it. And like I said, lead by example. Be the leader that you would want to follow. Stay hard.
Wherever you are, whoever you are, stop right now and take 3 deep breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Fill an imaginary balloon behind your belly button. Did you feel that? That's just 3. But you can do 6 and you'd feel even better. And what we just did is we exercised the power of choice. You are a beautiful, powerful, loving human being. And you're learning how to be a man. You're learning how to be a man. You're not quite a man yet, but you're a young man in training. You're a king in training. And the advice I can give to you, and the advice I give to my future self and to my past self is the same. It's a little note that I'd put in my pocket that I'm going to slip right in your pocket right now. Whenever you feel stressed, whenever you feel angry, if your home life is torment, if you're unhappy with your body, if you're sad, you can always use your breath as an anchor. Se posso respirare, posso scegliere. What does that mean? In Italian, that means if I can breathe, I can choose. You can always choose. You can always choose. Even when it feels like your mind is racing and you don't think you can always choose. You choose the food you eat. You choose to play sports or not. You choose to date a pretty girl or date a woman that you feel a connection with. You choose to play video games for 24 hours and not do your work on yourself. You choose to do drugs that are unhealthy for you. And all these things are okay because this is how you sharpen your edge of intuition as a young man. So the advice I'll give to you is this. Every single time you experience one of your emotions, anger, frustration, jealousy, sadness, fear, let that be okay. Let that be okay. Learn to be friends with your emotions. Learn to parent your emotions. And learn to give the parents that are doing the absolute best they can and have always done the best they can. Learn to have compassion and to forgive them. Because one day, my friend, one day you may be a father. One day you'll have your child go through something like this. And so have compassion for yourself. My advice is use your breath as your anchor. Se posso respirare, posso scegliere. Have compassion for yourself and your parents. And most of all, that the anchor provides that space for you to actually feel your emotions. I know that Dennis and Anthony are masters at using this modality of teaching where we're letting men feel what they feel. We're letting men express themselves. We're letting men do hard things and hold each other in brotherhood. So let that be enough. Let your breath be enough. Let you be enough. And give yourself the damn permission to feel what you feel. Because there's wisdom there.
Hi, my name is Mike Salemme, and I wanted to give you one big bang tip that you can implement right now into your life. It's a tip that I wish I knew when I was younger. It's something that I've only incorporated in the last few years, and I've been blown away at how much more conditioned I am in the gym, how much calmer I am in challenging conversations, and how much more clearly I can think on a day-to-day basis. So, this involves nasal breathing. Now, as human beings, especially during stressful situations, oftentimes there's an automatic switch that goes off and we tend to breathe in and out through the mouth. And what I want you to know and I want you to remember is the mouth was not designed for breathing. Yes, we have to drink liquids and that comes in through the mouth. Yes, we have to eat foods, but as it relates to breathing, as human beings, we were designed to breathe in and out through the nose. When you breathe in and out through the nose, the interesting thing is you're going to start being able to take in and utilize more oxygen. Oxygen is the most important nutrient in the body. I want you to think about this. If you were to stop breathing right now and hold your breath for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, maybe it's even a minute, that's your capacity, you will start killing your brain. Breathing, we think about food, we think about water, but we forget about breathing. And so it is the most vital nutrient that can have an effect on your stress levels and on your performance. And here's another big thing. Today, we have a big problem of over breathing. We breathe too much. After a hard effort in the gym, after you push yourself, oftentimes coaches, and I had a lot of coaches who said this, and even I said this for years, taking that deep breath and then let it all out. Well, the interesting thing about that is even though you're bringing in more air, that by no means you're actually more able to use the oxygen that you're taking in. In fact, when we breathe in less air, we breathe lightly, we breathe deeply, deep into your belly, you're going to be able to utilize that oxygen so much more efficiently. And so my big tip today is during your training workouts, when you're having challenging conversations in class, I want to invite you to close your mouth and focus on breathing in and out through the nose. Now, one fun thing that I tend to do with myself in my own training and with a lot of the people that I work with is you can do this in a few ways. You can close your mouth when you're working out, for example, and you'll then be forced to breathe in and out through the nose. Or what you can do is you could tape your mouth, but a lot of people don't want to do that. But this is a fun thing that you can do, and I'm going to invite you, I'm going to challenge you to do this. In your next workout, take a big sip of water, hold the water in your mouth. When you hold the water in your mouth and you don't swallow or don't spit it out, it's going to force you to breathe in and out through your nose. It's a fun challenge you can do. See if you can get through an entire workout, for example, with just breathing in and out through the nose and holding that water in. A few of the things that you're going to experience is increased conditioning level, increased work capacity, the ability to build that engine, the ability to go longer. You're also going to notice your ability to critically think, stay focused, stay centered, stay concentrated. The other thing you're going to notice, especially if you carry this through your sleep, definitely don't do it with the water, but if you keep your mouth closed during your sleep, you're going to feel so much more rested. And in fact, what you might notice is you might need much less sleep because you're sleeping so much more deeply. And the last thing is during the day, when you're doing your schoolwork, you're in class, keep your mouth closed. It's a simple tip, but it is such an important tip and it carries over through every different aspect of your life. So nasal breathing is where it's at. It's simple and it is powerful. If you do want to find out more information about what I do, some of the programs I teach or anything like that, I specialize in a lot of the unconventional fun training tools like kettlebells, sandbags, Bulgarian bags, all that sort of stuff, body weight training. And on my Instagram, I drop almost daily new tips, new strategies, new tactics, so you can get more out of training with less. And my Instagram is mike.salemme. If you got any questions you want to reach out, just go to my website. That's www.mikesalemme.io, not .com. I hope to hear back from you, and please let me know how you're implementing the nasal breathing and what it's doing for you. I wish you all the best, all the success in the world. Peace out, everybody.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angelo Cisco, and it is with great pleasure that I present to you the best piece of wisdom that I wish I heard as a younger man. And that's all around discipline, creating the discipline muscle, shall we say, and really learning to understand discipline, because it is the most paramount thing that I have found to be successful in this life. Anyone that doesn't have discipline will more than likely not reach any level of success in any endeavor that they choose to venture on in their life. And so I have two definitions of discipline. One is my personal version, and two is another one from someone else that I'll quote eventually. So my definition of discipline is your ability to say no to even yourself or anyone else that doesn't help you reach your goals. Your ability to say no. Can you say no to laying in bed a little bit longer? Can you say no when all of your friends want to do something, but you're striving towards your goals? Just your ability to say no is so important. And to me, that's what discipline looks like. Another great definition of discipline that I'd love to share along with mine is Mike Tyson's definition of discipline. Mike Tyson says that discipline is your ability to love the things that you hate. So anything you hate doing, but it's for your greater good, learn how to love it. Learn how to say no to things that don't serve the best of you or where you really want to go, no matter how it feels in the short term or how anyone reacts to it, because all those things aren't up to you. And like Mike Tyson says, learn to love the parts of the work that you hate, and there is nothing that will stop you in this life. It may take you longer than you think. It may not be as comfortable as you think, but if you could do those two things and make it look and sound like discipline, you will win in this game of life. I wish you all young men a wonderful and prosperous journey. Thank you so much for listening to this, and just be the best person that you could be. Discipline has gotten to me everywhere I wanted to be, and I trust that it will get you to everywhere you wanted to go. Bye-bye.
Our second pillar of masculinity that we talked about was the idea of self-discipline. And so we had starting off with Ryan Durstein talking about embracing hardship. We talk about it a lot on the podcast, embracing the suck, embracing intentional discomfort.
Yeah. And then we go into Josh Trent, who talks about the power of breath, how important it is to breathe. And you know that if you can breathe, then you can choose. Just the ability to breathe and be present with what is right in front of you.
And then we have Mike Salemme, who's a total badass. Salemme is just a person that you definitely looked up to in your own physical fitness realm and your physical fitness journey. And Salemme talks about a strategy that we can use just by breathing through our nose as we're training. It's something that I know I never did. Just started to do it right now, and it's tough.
It completely shifts over from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic, allowing you to kind of get out of that fight or flight into that rest and digest, which allows you to think way more clear when you do that.
And then finally, Angelo Cisco, the alpha hippie, brings his A game when he talks about the ability to stand in that true masculine self of yours and do the thing that you don't want to do, the thing that's really eating at you, that you know is the right thing to do, but having the self-discipline to stand up and do those things that are really challenging.
So there are so many wonderful things that I want to share with young men. Specifically, when I think about sharing with you, I think about my own sons. I have 4 sons that live with us, that are a part of our life, that I want to see be the best men they can be, okay? And one of the things that I think really stood out for me was thinking back into my past. And a piece of advice that I have for you moving forward in life is this. If you need to do something that's out of character, if you need to do something that drops the respect for yourself in order to fit in order to make people laugh, in order to be the life of the party, it's not for you. You're a part of the wrong crowd. You'll never be put into situations in your life where you'll have friends that want you to do those things in order for you to be accepted, in order for you to be friends with them, in order for you to be a part of their life. Sure, it's fun to be the clown. Sure, it's fun to get some laughs. Sure, it's fun to be that guy. You're not going to be able to put it on your resume. It's not going to help your grades. It's not going to fill your bank account. It's not going to teach you a trade. It's not going to help you work with your hands. It's not going to help you in life. I guarantee you. All of the things that I did, I don't regret any of them. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not by any means telling you not to have fun in life. What I'm telling you is, when you feel it in your heart that what you're about to do is probably wrong and you start to second guess it, that's literally your inner spirit pulling at you, telling you not to do it. It's telling you that you need to do something else. It's telling you that you need to be somewhere else, that that's the wrong environment. I urge you to stand by yourself, firm in things that you believe in, even if it means that you stand by yourself. That's where true power comes in. You're going to learn in your life as you get older that your life is literally 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. It's going to take you a long time to develop the skills to differentiate between how you react properly. But I assure you, if you always listen to your heart, you'll always make the right choices. Be better, do better, work hard. Don't just do it, own it.
I would be honored to hope that this message inspires anybody out there that listens to it. You know, the number one thing that we as men do is we compare. We say that, well, that guy's got talent, or that guy, you know, he just has it made, which isn't the case. You know, some of the most driven entrepreneurs that I've met are the laziest I've ever met as well too, but we're disciplined. You know, I heard this the other day where everybody's worried about position in life instead of trajectory. You know, how much money do I have in my bank account? You know, what's the weight on the scale say? All these things. But when you live your life on trajectory, meaning is the curve going up and to the right? Am I getting 1% better every day? Am I learning every day? Am I thinking every day? Am I smiling every day? These are the attributes that create a great life, because compounded over time, you will create all the momentum that you need. And so my philosophy to you is care less about the goals and care more about winning the day. And what I mean by that is, to win the day, you create 5 habits that you do every day: reading, working out for 30 minutes, walking, drinking water, and do those every day. And if you start now, I promise you that over a 20, 30, 40, 60 year trajectory, you will create whatever wealth, dreams, body, anything that you want in life. And we self-sabotage ourselves by creating goals that aren't really for us. They're not even for us. They're from somebody else or how we look. And so I want you to go out there and I want you to win the day. I want you to create small wins over time, and I want you to compound those over and over and over again. And first and foremost, don't let anybody speak their belief of you into you. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do if you put your mind to it, if you focus, if you win the day. So go out there and crush it.
Hey, good morning, guys. My name is Craig Cooper. I just want to come on here to give you guys some advice about self-love, about confidence, about how important it is that you believe in yourself. I think a lot of times we focus on what other people think, how other people feel, what other people say about us. And sometimes we let what other people think, what other people say about us, we make it to our reality, unfortunately. And that's something that I struggled with as a youth. So I'm gonna give you the same advice that I wanted to hear from myself when I was younger. Me, I would say in my early youth, in my early teens, and even my 20s, I was so trapped in my own head and so trapped into my own emotions that I didn't realize who I am as a person, how great I was. So the advice I want to give you guys is always believe in yourself. Always encourage yourself. You get up every single day, remind yourself how handsome you are, how smart you are, how intelligent you are every single day. A lot of times we focus on what that person think. No, it's about what you think about yourself. It's very important. To the time that you're a teen, to the time that you're an adult, to whenever. Continue to encourage yourself, continue to believe in yourself, continue to love yourself always. My name is Craig Cooper. I have a podcast called Walking Purpose Podcast. I have Instagram called I Am Dark Superman. Also got an Instagram called Let's Uplift Kings. And I also got a book out called Uplift Kings. So feel free to reach out to me for any advice, anything in general, guys. Keep encouraging yourself, keep believing yourself, and keep that self-love journey positive. You got this, guys. Always. Have a great day.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Dave Robinson, and I am a master storywork coach and healthy holistic habits coach here in Richmond, Virginia. So this is a really exciting opportunity because I'm going to share with y'all a couple things that I wish were shared with me when I was in high school, even in college, honestly. And these are applicable to anybody at any time. All right, I'm going to give you a couple pieces of advice, right? One, your health is your greatest asset. Your health is your greatest asset. You might have heard the phrase, if you don't use it, you lose it. The flip side of that is if you use it, you keep it. All right. So keep your health. Keep your health number one in your focus. Better you, better everybody. Better me, better everybody. It's a key factor. A lot of times we, as men specifically, tend to sacrifice ourselves for our families or our futures or our other people in our lives. And I've done all of that. And when I started to put my health first, everything shifted for me positively. And it will continue to do that because I make a concerted effort to better myself physically every single day. All y'all got to do is move and keep moving. And that is a really, really helpful piece of advice, especially being so young, right? Use it and keep it. Number two, do not be realistic in your life. I've heard, I remember hearing from my dad, my mom, my grandparents, my teachers, you got to be realistic. You got to be realistic. No, you don't. That's for folks who are scared. That's for folks who, aren't ever going to realize their potential. You can and will realize your full potential by not being realistic, being unrealistic. There is no such thing as an impossible goal, merely an impossible timeline. All right. So a lot of us really overestimate what we can do in 1 week, 6 months, 1 year, and we vastly underestimate what we could do in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. It's a long game, y'all. You are very young, right? I'm 34 years old and I'm very young. Got a long way to go. So keep chopping and do not be realistic. Aim high, right? You can do anything you want in life. You can't do everything you want. You can do anything you want. So choose. Number three, go all the way. Go all the way. The universe rewards us when we go all in on ourselves, our dreams, our futures. Go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. To quote Charles Bukowski, you will be alone with the gods and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. Do it. Go all the way. Fantastic poem. Check that one out. Last and certainly not least, someone's got to be a badass motherfucker and it might as well be you. Straight up. Now, strong, badass, if you can juxtapose that with kind and empathetic, now you have the best of both worlds. You're embodying all of the masculine in that drive and that go-getter and that badass motherfucker, mindset and vibe. And you're able to pick people up by their bootstraps. You're able to set a ladder up to pull people up behind you, right? You're able to, be empathetic, be kind, share, help, grow, right? There's a lot of people who need us as men And we can't show up as that wounded young boy self, right? We can't show up that way in this world. We have to show up as strong. We have to show up as dedicated to us, to our mission, right? And we have to show up leading from the heart with kindness and empathy, okay? And gratitude. Gratitude is huge. So, number one, your health matters more than anything else. Your health matters. Keep it first, right? Number two, do not be realistic. Number three, go all the way. Number four, be a badass motherfucker. Keep chopping. Find me at workyourstories.com. You can also find me online on Instagram at getstrappedstaystrapped, and listen to these dudes, right? The Building Men guys are top class, top class. If you want to be like that, if you want to be anything like that, any piece of that success, you got to start chopping. All right, keep going, keep doing your thing. Hope to see you all on the 28th.
Hey, my friends. I was thinking about what advice I could pass on to you. I think one of the things that I do very well is that I'm able to look at the metaphors that are around me. What I mean by that is observing everyday occurrences and then applying them or seeing what they have to teach me about who I am in this world. I want to leave with you the Japanese teacup and how I grew up with teacups that have handles on them. And then I started eating at sushi restaurants. And every time I'd order green tea, they would come over into a cup that had no handle. And I never quite understood why. Until one night when I'm sitting at the restaurant and I asked the waiter, "What's wrong with your teacups?" Now, he didn't berate me. He didn't smack me in the back of my bald head. He didn't mock me. But instead, he smiled, he laughed, and then he educated me. He said, if it's too hot to hold, it's too hot to drink. If there's any advice that I could give you, is to focus on your temperature of who you are, the stories that you have and possess, as opposed to the handles. The color of your skin, the music you listen to, the home in which you live, right? The money your parents have or don't have, those are the handles. Your story, get in touch with your story. You get in touch with connecting with people, and you become richer in your interactions. Peace.
The next pillar of masculinity that we discuss is the idea of being authentic, being your authentic self. And it starts with Craig Daigle. Craig went on an unbelievable physical fitness journey where he weighed over 400 pounds and he changed a couple daily habits. But the thing that Craig talks to us about is being able to stand true to yourself, stand in your masculine frame, even if you're standing alone. So being true to yourself, even if you're the only person that's there.
Yeah. Get rid of those people who aren't on your team. Bring people that are going to lift you up.
Austin Linney talks to us about trajectory, even getting 1% better every single day, and getting out of that mindset of constantly comparing yourself to other people. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not the guy down the street that, was driving the fancy car, living on the house in the hill. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
Yeah, you versus you all the time. And then Craig Cooper, who just is amazing. If you notice the lion behind him, that's just the most badass picture that you could ever have. And again, the ability to believe in yourself, giving yourself affirmations, telling yourself how amazing you are. You need to be in your corner and your biggest fan all the time.
When he's like, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am a handsome motherfucker.
I am handsome. I am beautiful. Like, goddamn right.
And then one of my favorite lines of all time, Dave Robinson saying, somebody out there has got to be a badass motherfucker. It might as well be you.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Love that guy. Absolutely love Dave Robinson. And his message too, just, the idea of being realistic. Shoot for the fucking stars. I mean, the idea of somebody's got to be that badass dude. Why not you?
Why can't it be you?
Believe in that. Believe in that impossible dream. Nothing is impossible. So why not you being the person that goes out there to do it? Mikey Fallon, Dr. Mikey Fallon, who is a motivational speaker. He is a internationally known presenter. He talks to us about the idea of the handles of the teacup, right? Like, so what do we, it's like being authentic to ourselves and understanding who we fucking truly are.
Yeah.
What's up, everyone? This is AJ Donaldson with the EPIC Foundation of South Florida. EPIC is an acronym that stands for Experienced Professionals Impacting Communities. And notice I don't have a virtual background on purpose because I like to show the behind scenes of what the EPIC Foundation is all about, and even the legacy that I've created via EPIC. You can see over my left shoulder right here, my anti-tutor shirt that we started many years ago through my company, United Mentors, that was serving the moderate to high income homes out of private schools and charter schools throughout South Florida. We were very successful, landed a major contract with the Seminole Tribe of Florida for many, many years, over 10 years. And as I was making all that money, generating all that revenue, I found myself giving back to my community, to where I grew up, Opa-locka, down here in sunny South Florida. And writing those big old checks to those kids was the most fulfilled moment of my life, because growing up in a single family home, a mother who sacrificed so much to raise me, and I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate, you know, the biggest aspiration, my goal in life was to set her free, you know, to get to that point that one day she wouldn't have to work anymore, that we would send that limousine. Everybody has that imagination of what it would look like for them, telling their boss to go screw themselves, whatever the case may be. But I recognized something. I was like, you know, a part of what defined my life was the fact that I never knew my father. I could have picked this guy up, his face out in a lineup if my life depended on it. And it comes to that question of like, was it an accident, right? Was I an accident? Was my life an accident? And I can tell you with all sincerity, with all truth, right, and purpose, that my life has a purpose. I've made sure of that. That there was a purpose behind whatever circumstance may have caused me to be born into this world. And because of the life I've spent here on this earth, you know, from serving the community in education, playing football at the University of Miami, the biggest, the most momentous part of what I do in my life is being able to pay it forward. Just like the EPIC Foundation was organized specifically to take the efforts of experienced professionals so that we could come together and impact the community, first and foremost through scholarships. That's a big old check right behind me, right? $1,500 or more, we're giving away this money and investing in these kids' lives, which has opened the door to us being able to now have independent mentoring programs, paying it forward. That's what it's all about, being able to take what we've been through and give it to the next generation, to give it to you. All the hardship, all the hard work we've put in to do what it is that we do best today, everything that it took to get here is to now take it and pay it forward. Because as much as we've seen success, we've seen a lot of failure. And failure doesn't have to be a bad thing. I know getting an F on a test can hurt. Getting an F on a homework assignment can hurt, but it's not a failure unless you don't learn from it. You need to fail with purpose, just like we live with purpose and on purpose with a purpose. If I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail hard because I tried my best. And now I have an opportunity to learn from it. I have an opportunity to innovate. So if I had any advice for you today, it would be stop being afraid to fail. Failing is a part of life. You almost got to get to the point where you get comfortable with failing, but it is not a substitute for effort. That is a part of your character. Dr. King himself said that he dreamt of the day that we would not be judged by the color of our skin. That goes for anybody, Black, brown, tan, Latino, or whatever. And he could have stopped there, but he continued on and said, but by the content of our character. This was a brilliant man who said that on purpose. And listen, y'all, you gotta measure your character. Look yourself in the mirror every day, young man, and recognize who you are, where you come from. Be thankful for whatever those circumstances may be, and know that you got a bright future ahead of you. So fail on purpose and learn from it so that you can have success, true success. This is AJ Donaldson, the EPIC Foundation, South Florida, down here making an impact. We're excited about everything that's coming up in 2022. We hope to see you soon. And again, don't be scared. Keep on moving, keep on growing, keep on going.
Hey, fellas. Listen, my name is Cal Callahan. Honored to be here speaking on the Pillars of Masculinity. Thank you so much for Dennis and Anthony to bring me on here. I was honored to be a guest on their podcast, Building Men, and we covered a lot there. And I know, to be able to distill maybe some really important things for you all to be thinking about as you hit this phase of life. There's a few things that come to mind, so I want to try to really make it simple for you. And it's really going to come from this book here, The Lion Tracker's Guide to Life, written by a close friend of mine named Boyd Vardy. There's a lot covered in that book, but I highly recommend each of you go on Amazon, buy the book. It's been an incredible guide for me. It's something that I've shared with probably 200 or so people as a gift. The idea is that we are each on our own path. We are tracking our own path. No one can tell you what makes you feel alive. No one can tell me what makes me feel alive. Only we can answer that for ourselves. And in that process, it's about tuning into our intuition. One of the lines that Boyd speaks about in here, and I'm going to just read it to you so I don't mess it up. So no one can tell you what your track will be, or have to know what calls you and brings you to life. That's your work to do. There's going to be a lot of people, your parents, well-intended, teachers, coaches, your friends, who are telling you what you should like and what you shouldn't like. There's no shoulds. You need to tune into yourself. Okay, what makes you open up? What brings you life, right? For me, as I've tuned into that, I'm 50 years old now. As I've started to tune into that in these last couple of years, I brought so much joy and ease into my life because I'm following those tracks. Now, along those lines, take it really simply. What's the one thing that you love? Stay on that track. And when things come in your life that don't feel good, that don't feel like they're aligned, find a way to either push those aside and allow someone else to follow that track, or just move on. And it can be really hard because, again, there's a lot of people who are going to be well-intended. They're going to try to tell you what to do. They think they know what's best for you, but only you know that. You're going to mess some things up. That's part of our journey. One of the things Boyd talks about is the path of not here is part of the path of here. So if you're going on to college and you think you want to become a doctor, so you take all these pre-med classes and you're really excited about it because you've been excited about it since you were 8 years old, you may find at some point that it's no longer serving you. That's not time wasted. That's time that you've spent trying to understand what it is about you and who you are and what you want to do in life is going to inform you. So all the journeys that you take, all the side roads and the tracks when you get off your own path, that's just information for you. One of the greatest things I've stepped into in my later years is just being curious and understanding that when I come into a situation, when I come into something that I really don't know about, if I can just be open to that, I actually get to learn. When I come in thinking I have the answers, my ability to be curious and to evoke wonder, it's not available to me because I think I know, but ultimately I don't know much. I know my own experience, and that's what guides me through life. Sure, I'll listen to podcasts, I'll have conversations with people to help inform me of what my path may look like, but it's largely dependent upon my own experience. So I highly recommend each of you take on this idea that this is your journey. This is about your finding out what brings you to life. And if you can do that, it becomes super clear the path that you're supposed to be on, the journey that you're supposed to be taking. Have fun with it. Again, I'm 50. Y'all are in your teens, late teens. You have your whole life ahead of you. Let it be fun. Let the hard things, the challenges, let those be part of your experience. Welcome them in and try to see what you're meant to be taught in each of these moments. Thanks for having me on today. I wish you the best. Much love.
What's up, gents? So if I were to offer you one piece of life advice, it would be this. Don't get caught in the trap of playing the victim. See, in our culture, victim consciousness is very common, but you do not want to get stuck here, because victim consciousness is a place that will render you powerless to making the changes you need to make in order to become the kind of man that you want to be in this world. So victim consciousness is blaming and complaining things, people, places, bad strokes of luck, diagnoses, labels for the way that you are. It's the dialogue that exists inside of us. Well, if I was just a little smarter or a little better looking, or if I didn't have this particular label, if I, got treated better, if I had a father, if I, on and on it goes, then I would be on and on and on and on. But what that does is it renders us powerless. Now, there's a reason we like to do it, because it's not our fault. And if it's not our fault, then it kind of makes us feel good. But we can point the finger of blame and complain. And it is true that not everything that happens to you is your fault, but it is all your responsibility. Like, what are you going to do despite all of those challenges? It might be true that you have a particularly difficult set of circumstances to overcome. It might be true that you've had a string of bad luck. All of that might be true. And what? Do you want to stay there, defined by that, blaming and complaining and just saying, well, if I didn't have it, then I'd be somebody else? Or do you want to get busy taking responsibility for what you do with that now and creating the kind of life that you want to live from that moment forward? Because there's only one guarantee there, is if you stay in victim consciousness, you will render yourself powerless forever. You will always be at the mercy of the external world. The feeling of being ready, the everything lining up and being just perfect. And guess what? It's probably not going to happen, because you've got to make it happen. Life conspires to help those that are taking the risk and are taking responsibility, not the people that are sitting in the stands pointing the fingers of blame and complain. So however difficult life may be and however challenging life may become, it's important that you stay in the seat of responsibility, to say, what am I going to do about this now? How am I going to respond? Because that is to walk the path of the hero's journey. Because that man is the man that is architecting his future every single day. And if you can do that, you can be whoever you want to be. You can live the life that you want to live. But I promise you, if you stay stuck in the victim consciousness, pointing the finger, cursing the gods, kicking the tires, screaming and belittling yourself because of whatever it is, you will stay there forever. And I know that's not what anybody wants. So it's time to take action. It's time to take responsibility. With great responsibility comes great power. The power to decide the future that you want to create for yourself. So ask yourself, what kind of future do you want to create? And are you willing to take the greatest journey of a man's lifetime? The journey of radical responsibility for everything. Because if you're willing to walk on that journey, then life will reward you right back. So let's go.
So in our final pillar of masculinity, we talk about the idea of having a purpose, something larger than yourself. And the first person who talked was AJ Donaldson, the creator of the Epic Foundation in South Florida. And he really talks about that idea of taking things that might have been a hardship in our specific lives and using them to fuel us to give back, to have this sense of purpose to the next generation that's coming after us.
And then we go into Cal Callahan, who I just love so much. He's so passionate in the way that he speaks, and he talks about the path of not here. And so finding the lessons in everywhere that you go. If there's a path that you went down and wasn't necessarily what led you, it happened for a reason, right? So every path that you go down is leading you to where you are today.
And then finally, our closer was Steve Lane. He is the author of Peak Primal Health. And Steve Lane's talks about this victim mentality, this victim mindset where we're feeling powerless. And he really talks about this fierce level of responsibility as a man and being in your masculine frame. I wanted to leave you here today with a poem by someone named Michael Josephson. The poem is What Will Matter. It's something that I mentioned as a middle school principal. I ran this Building Men program. It's something that I shared with my younger brother, with my own son. And it's a poem about the idea of, like living every day to the fullest. And what is our meaning here on earth? Like, why are we absolutely here? And the poem goes like this. What Will Matter by Michael Josephson. Ready or not, someday it will all come to an end. There will be no more sunrises, no minutes, hours, or days. All the things you collected, whether treasured or forgotten, will pass onto someone else. Your wealth, fame, temporal power will shrivel to irrelevance. It will not matter what you owned or what you were owed. Your grudges, resentments, frustrations, and jealousies will finally disappear. So too, your hopes, ambitions, plans, and to-do lists will expire. The wins and losses that once seemed so important will fade away. It won't matter where you came from or what side of the tracks you lived on in the end. It won't matter whether you were beautiful or brilliant. Even your gender and skin color will be irrelevant. So what will matter? How will the value of your days be measured? What will matter is not what you bought, but what you built. Not what you got, but what you gave. What will matter is not your success, but your significance. What will matter is not what you learned, but what you taught. What will matter is every act of integrity, compassion, courage, or sacrifice that enriched, empowered, or encouraged others to emulate your example. What will matter is not your competence, but your character. What will matter is not how many people you knew, but how many people will feel a lasting loss when you're gone. What will matter is not your memories, but the memories of those who loved you. What will matter is how long you will be remembered, by whom, and for what. Living a life that matters doesn't happen by accident. It's not a matter of circumstance, but of choice. Choose to live a life that matters. Thank you for joining us here on this Pillars of Masculinity event, joining the Building Men podcast. Dennis and Anthony Morolda, go a step further than you thought you can go. We'll see you next time on Building Men.